Well, hello there, motherfuckers, and welcome to your Smackdown review. Just once I'd like to start off a review by saying the show is great, but, there were some things on the show that were okay, but once again, I feel like, we're post SummerSlam. I feel like, I'm sorry, people probably say my standards are too high, that, I'm expecting too much, and I probably am, because I'm the one who usually says don't expect anything at all, and you'll probably be a lot happier with your WWE product, or not happy at all, depending on what your perspective is. So we started off with The Miz. He was doing a fake retirement, to make fun of Daniel Bryan. Then, he says he's retired from wrestling Daniel Bryan. Bryan comes out and he starts saying, coward, coward, coward. Why is this, like, the only, like, descriptive word for a heel nowadays? It's everyone is a coward. There's, like, two terms that are, like, totally overused when it comes to WWE programming. That's the word coward and sick of. I'm sick of this, I'm sick of that, and then they'll usually end up like calling somebody a coward. It's like paint by the numbers when it comes to a promo. I don't know, it's gotta be a McMahon thing. I can't see that like everybody uses the same verbiage, the same adjectives. Like it's like the OCD thing I said, like they can't deviate from this. It's either gotta be coward, it's either gotta be I'm sick of this, I'm sick of that, I'm sick and tired, I'm sick and tired of this, it's got to be one of those terms, or like it's not making it on TV. So Daniel Bryan comes out, predictably calls Miz a coward. For some reason, like they barely talk about the brass knucks, like that was just like a faint memory. It happened, only 2 days ago, but they're making like it was like a non-issue. Brie Bella comes out. She attacks Maurice. So, now we're setting up for a tag match. I mean, this is interesting. They're at least getting the girls involved. It's been a while since we've seen anything from the Bellas as far as in-ring goes. We could probably look for this feud to last for a very long time. And once again, I have to say, like, I'm already getting sick of it. And I talked about this. They should have got on this feud the minute that The Miz hit SmackDown. And when Daniel Bryan, made him come. I mean, how confusing is this? Remember when they had the draft at the beginning of the year, after WrestleMania, it was supposed to be that Daniel Bryan wanted The Miz to come on to SmackDown. He requested that, he come to SmackDown. We thought we were going to get the feud right away, and then we got all tangled up in the Big Cass situation, and, and now Big Cass is not even there, so they've wasted all that time. And now we're going to see this feud, and, I understand that he wasn't medically cleared, so the talking smack thing that they did back in, 2016, they waited so long to get to this point. Now that we're here, it's already pretty lackluster. Like, the match was pretty good at SummerSlam, good enough. But the storyline, it like left a lot to be desired. Like the crying babies and everything. I mean, they've already tarnished it, and now we already know that we're not getting like a normal rematch here. That's going to be coming up probably after the Hell in the Cell little mixed tag match we're going to have here. So we're going to basically have another feud that goes on for months and months and months. Another endless feud. And I have to ask, like, they brought Daniel Bryan back. It was supposed to be like a big moment. And can anybody really say that they're satisfied with the return of Daniel Bryan? Like, can anybody honestly say, I'm, like, happy with the way how this went? Like, we waited for him to come back. We thought that the guy's career was completely over. He comes back and, like, this is what they have to show for it. The guy has been active since WrestleMania, and this is the best that they could do. This is the best that they could come up with. Like, out of all these months, what has it been? Like 5 months already of him being back. And this is what they have to show for it. I mean, you know, within the first night of him being back, they should have got right on this shit. And it should have been like an explosive return. But instead it was like a minor whimper. You know, he came back, had a feud with Big Cass that nobody even cared about. And now that we finally get the feud with The Miz that everyone was waiting for ever since the Talking Smack promo, you know, now it's already leaving a lot to be desired. Cause could anything deliver? Could anything be past our expectations? Does it always have to, you know, be below expectations? Does it always have to be low quality? Does it always have to be subpar? I mean, you know, this is the funny thing. It's like, okay, so you can maybe make the argument they leave us wanting more. But, you know, to leave us wanting more, you have to give us something. And, you know, it's so funny that we have a 5-hour pay-per-view. We have these long-ass shows every week. And all of it is just complete nonsense. We haven't gotten, you know, any type of quality at all. You have 5 hours of programming each week, and you have pay-per-views that now they're going to be 4 hours every single time they have one. So, you know, how are we like getting to this point where we can't even get a decent storyline, can't even get a decent feud? Like, nothing can succeed. Then we had Randy Orton defeating Jeff Hardy by disqualification when Jeff Hardy stomped him in the groin. We had a good spot here. Jeff Hardy climbing up on the in the crowd, delivering a swanton through the table, something we haven't seen in a long time. So, you know, it was good to see that. But, you know, Randy Orton, like, I don't know, they just took the wind out of his sails right away. Like, from point A to point B, Orton is stalking Jeff, you know, then he turns around, and now he just gets the shit kicked out of him, basically. I mean, okay, so, you know, Orton had been getting the best of Jeff Hardy for a few weeks, but from what they did to the pay-per-view to this night, it doesn't really, it's not a great sense of continuity there. But, I mean, it was, you know, I liked the swanton and everything, not really a lot to complain about, so I'll let it pass. Backstage, I had some goofballish segment with, I mean, I'll give credit where credit's due. The Gallows and Anderson, they try to have personality. They put on some glasses. They pretended to be the pre-show team. But I look at this, you know, with the silly glasses and everything, and then I think back to, like, moments during the Attitude Era and the Ruthless Aggression Era when they used to do comedy that was actually funny. I'm like, this is just like, you know, not even childish humor. It's just completely stupid. Like, I mean, they're there like making British voices, you know, with the glasses on, these like oversized glasses, and I'm just like, what is this? I mean, this is like not even humor you would see on Barney the Dinosaur or Sesame Street. It's just, you know, I don't even know how to describe it. It's just comedy made for people that are mentally inept, basically. I mean, like, honestly, can anybody say they sat there and honestly laughed at this? They thought it was funny, thought it was entertaining? And the Bar is just backstage, and, you know, like, what are they doing with these guys? We had a chance for a fresh matchup at the pay-per-view with the Bar. You know, they were such a big deal last year, and now, you know, they're nothing, right? Just losing to New Day like a sack of garbage. And these are the challengers we have. You know, Gallows and Anderson, like, is this even a viable team anymore? Are we honestly supposed to, like, look at these guys as, like, challengers, or, you know, anybody with any sort of integrity left? And, you know, so what do they do to try to, like, get any integrity back to this team? They have them put on, like, clownish glasses and start goofing around backstage. Peyton Royce defeated Naomi. Now, I don't get this. Now, Naomi is probably one of the most talented females on the roster. You know, isn't it supposed to be that it's all supposed to be about talent, right? It's not supposed to be about looks anymore. So if it's not supposed to be about looks anymore and just about talent, doesn't that totally just disqualify the Iconics, like, totally out of existence? Like, shouldn't they not even be allowed to compete on this roster, since it's like just serious women's wrestling and it's supposed to be all about respect for women's wrestling, and we're supposed to put the bra and panties and the bikini contest out of our mind for good? So, you know, Peyton Royce gets the win here, you know, and what happened to Naomi? Like, honestly, like, you want to talk about Becky Lynch deserving a title shot after 2 years. Well, what happened with Naomi? Remember the last time we saw, what did she lose to Natalya or something? And then they didn't do anything with Natalya's title run. And you had Naomi crying at ringside as she lost the title, and then they just proceeded to bury her. What is the deal now? And also, what's the deal with the Usos? Like, you know, you gotta, like, compare these two, obviously, because her husband is one of the Usos. Why are they burying just basically this whole family here? What did the Usos do rather than entertain and be good champions? Like, honestly, like, if I have to talk about since the last brand split, like, probably one of the best things they did, it was the Usos heel turn. That was expertly done, and you could probably attribute that to probably mostly the Usos getting it done and maybe having a little bit of creative freedom. But probably some of the best SmackDown moments since the draft probably included the Usos, in my opinion. I think they did a fine job, and Naomi looked like she was on her way to being a pretty good champion. You know, the entrance, you know, redoing the attire and everything. She was off to a good start. And then they just ripped the title off of her. So, like, what are they doing? Like, with this team, anything that's over or good is not even held in any type of sacred regard. You know, just rip it all away from them, basically. And that's basically what we're looking at here. They don't care about anybody anymore on the roster. No one is held sacred. Forget about the Usos and just Naomi. Anyone that's won a title or any sort of thing like that, you know, they've always got to knock them down several pegs, and then they'll probably try in a few years to bring them up again. But, like, I have to ask, like, where's the Usos? Like, they have them eliminated from the tag tournament, never to be heard from again. Then you had Becky Lynch doing her promo where she's explaining why she did what she did. And I have to say, honestly, this was probably the best explanation I've ever heard, like, in a few years. Like, honestly, in quite a few years, of why somebody did what they did to explain a heel turn. Way better than Randy Orton, where, you know, where it looks kind of foolish on Randy Orton, you know, with so many heel turns when he's already been there for over 15 years, and he's, like, talking about, like, why he did what he did. Like, okay, so all of a sudden, after all these years, you decided to be heel after doing 5 different heel turns throughout the course of an entire career. But Becky Lynch, okay, you know, so it's her first heel turn. I don't remember if she was ever heel in NXT. I feel like she might have been at one point, but anyway, it seemed to work for her. She talked about, you know, how it was supposed to be her moment, and, you know, they kind of, you know, so they did succeed in telling a bit of a story. So I'll give credit where credit's due, as I always do. You know, just they did a decent job telling that story of Becky Lynch being jealous. Becky still came out on the losing end, but I guess this is a way of, you know, she didn't get pinned in the match, so this is a way, I guess, of kind of explaining things of why they did what they did, that sort of business. And, you know, I think it was pretty much a success. Charlotte comes out. They end up having a pull-apart brawl. So I'll say that this was probably the best part of SmackDown for me. You know, I think this was pretty well done. Becky Lynch cut a decent promo. She managed to get her point across pretty well, you know, I guess with the limitations of creative. somehow things seem to fall into place. You know, once in a while they get it right. You know, even a broken clock is right twice a day. So, you know, why not? Why not have a good segment for a change, right? Like it's like supposed to be some sort of reward or something. But you know, Becky looked good in this this segment. You know, as the promo goes, I mean, it was a job well done. You know, they got to the brawl and everything, so now it's we've got a rivalry going, and you know, for the most part, pretty successful part of the show. This, like I said, you know, in a show that's like in shambles, where just like, oh god, like don't even want to watch it, don't even want to bother. This was decent enough. Then you had Rusev and Lana defeating Almas and Vegas. So it's the reverse of what happened last night. It couldn't get on the pay-per-view, so they have it on the pre-show. Then they just wait to have the opposite result on SmackDown. I don't get like how they book, honestly. I don't understand why they do half the things they do. I mean, like, so you're going to have the match on the pre-show, have one result, then wait till the next night, then have Aiden English, you know, help out, and then have them get the win. So, like, what was the point of even having that match on the pre-show? They might as well just waited to have it on SmackDown, where more people were going to see it. Because how many people could honestly say, people like me who watch SummerSlam, did you really even bother watching the pre-show? Like, honestly, like, tell me in the comments, if you watch SmackDown, did you even bother watching that pre-show? There was nothing even interesting on that pre-show that would even warrant your time. A cruiserweight match, a tag title match that we've honestly seen already several times, you know, in and this Lana Rusev match, you know, so they basically just repeated themselves. Then we had the AJ Styles promo, which brings out Samoa Joe. Also, before I even get to what happened, what is up with Renee Young? Which she asked. I put her over for Raw, and she did a decent job, enough on commentary, but can you tell us in your own words why you did what you did to Samoa Joe? In his own words. Like, whose words are they going to be? Like, that made, like, no sense at all. Like, why would you pose the question to him that way? In your own words. Like, you know, who else was, like, telling the story for him prior to you asking him the question? I don't know, very minor thing there, but I'm just like, that was one thing where I just kind of was like, what? Like, what did you just say? Anyway, Samoa Joe comes, attacks him from behind. He calls out to his wife. He says he's not going to be home to tuck in the kids because he already put him to sleep. I don't know, you know, to me, this is not coming across as good as, and like, I want to say like, oh, they're telling a story here, they're getting personal. But I feel like they're not doing enough here. They're not showing, like, enough. Like, they could get AJ's wife involved. Samoa Joe, maybe. I don't know. You can make him a stalker. Maybe you could, you know what? Pull something out of the annals of WWE history. Why don't you actually go back and do the DDP storyline, like, maybe the right way? You know, maybe Samoa Joe could be like a stalker character. You know, hey, well, how about that? How about you actually give Joe a character, something that he's never had before? Or, you know, this character that he does now, the super tough guy that talks in the monotone voice constantly and never deviates his style or even his attire. So, you know, they could do something out of the ordinary with him, but you know, they're not going to do that. They're going to just keep it to his same character and go with the storyline anyway. It's boring me out of my mind. I mean, you know, you're not getting anything out of this storyline. It's just kind of like Joe saying random things and you know, AJ getting upset. So I don't know. We'll see where they go. Obviously, given the benefit of the doubt, but I'm not really expecting much like I normally do. So. Backstage, Carmella was granted a rematch. R-Truth like was trying to challenge her for the title. You know, I don't understand. You got R-Truth this guy who's getting up there in age already, right? Already in his late 40s. He's in, like, probably the best shape of his life. And you're just still going to keep doing the same thing you've been doing him for the past 5 years. Just make him, like, this totally inept goofball character. Like, why don't we, like, try to make him serious again? Or, you know, we could make him the guy that was, like, out of his mind. I don't know what happened. But, like, I guess it was after the Survivor Series, like, where he tagged with The Miz against Cena and Rock. Like, after that, they completely just withdrew, like, everything out of R-Truth. And they never got back to where they were with him. Then you had New Day defeating the Bludgeon Brothers in the main event. And I get it. You know, I guess the reason why they took the titles off of the Bludgeon Brothers was due to the torn, it was a torn bicep or tricep on Eric Rowan. But I'm not too sure that they weren't planning on giving the titles to New Day anyway somewhere down the road, because that finish where they had to have the Bludgeon Brothers cheat didn't really hold too well for, you know, for the Bludgeon Brothers, like these big guys. And the other thing, like, they were having Eric Rowan wrestle with this torn bicep or tricep, and there he is, like, bashing into the barricade. Like, honestly, like, at this point they should have just, you know what would have been better? If they just stripped them of the titles. What they should have done is they should have said, like, due to their actions and brutality, they should have just shown them beating the shit out of the New Day, like, mercilessly, like, on SmackDown. And then just have Paige say, you know what, we're stripping you of the titles, you went too far. Like, just come up with some bullshit reason or something, and then we would have understood anyway. But taking the titles off of them, especially the way how this match was laid out. Did you see when they did the crucifix bomb on Kofi or Xavier Woods, whoever it was, slamming his ass down on that ladder? That is a finisher if I ever did see one. They've pinned them before. I think they pinned them before with that move, just on normally hitting them on the mat. And then they kick out of it. He kicked out of the finisher off the ladder. That was probably the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen in my life. I mean, kicking out of that, I mean, you know, we've had false finishes. It was chock full of them at SummerSlam. We've seen, you know, people kicking out of finishers all the time. It's pretty commonplace. But when I saw this, I called bullshit right away. I'm like, honestly, Xavier Woods, Kofi, whoever it was, kicking out of that move? I mean, you might as well have just saved face and just fucking did what I said. Just have him strip him of the titles. Instead, making him look weak in this match. I mean, and Big E wasn't even one of the people in the match. Like, okay, this is what I said at SummerSlam. They should have had these two in the match, lose the match, and then have Big E just, you know, destroy all of them. You know, and say, like, look what you did, you know, you've embarrassed me for the last time. You could have had that great story to tell. And then they could have moved on with the Bludgeon Brothers. Just had them do something heinous where it made them, you know, strip them of the titles. But instead now we have a big mess, and now it looks like the New Day could fucking conquer guys that are close to 7 feet tall. You know, I don't know, but this just, man, this match left such a bad taste in my mouth. Holy shit, like, you're honestly gonna have the New Day go over them, kick out of their finisher off of a ladder, no less? Oh boy, I don't know what to tell you guys. Anyway, you know, what more can I say after that? That was just fucking horrible. You know, like I said, the Becky Lynch segment, decent enough, but man, you just want to end this show just on a fucking just disgusting note, like the New Day now. You know, New Day is showing no signs of slowing down. This is what I saw, like, on their YouTube channel or their website, wherever it was that I saw it. And I'm like, they're giving them another tag title run, really? where this should be the point where they should be slowing down, where they should have broken this fucking team up and just gave Big E an opportunity. Start building a new star. This is a dead end already with New Day, with the fucking pancakes and what have you. I mean, oh God. Just seeing that kick out of that finisher, I was like, man, this company is a fucking pile of shit. I mean, they have no interest at all in like holding anybody's attention. How do they really expect to get anywhere with the way how they book this shit and how they formulate these shows? I mean, it's post SummerSlam and it feels like, you know, post Backlash, or not even. It feels like there isn't even a pay-per-view that just happened. I mean, my God, it's bad enough that the pay-per-view was lackluster, but every other show, you know, for the fallout of it has to be shitty as well. I don't know what else I got to tell you guys. Anyway, thank you for watching. Guys, subscribe if you haven't already. Click the bell so you get the notifications when I post new videos. Check out my other videos posted right here. And this has been your YWC Champ, and I'm signing out.